Perfect. All right, good. Thanks so much, Mark, for joining me today. My name's Otto Cammons, and I'm going to be your trainer today. I just want to go through some bits and pieces in particular when it comes to personalising mud maps and utilising some of the tools that we've got within Transperth, be it online tools and also some of the mud maps that we've got too. So something that will be really handy for you as a new recruit here at Transperth as well. So before I do get started, I just want to talk about where the bathrooms are, and in case of any emergency, should there be an incident. So if you do hear a siren, our exit is just directly behind you, and we'll just go to the ushering point. And with that, bathrooms also just behind you, just follow the signs. So with that, I just want to make sure you're comfortable.
Yep.
Good. And with that, I just want to give you a little bit of background information about myself. I too am a new recruit here in Transperth, and with that, I have utilised some of the tools to personalise some of these mud maps. So it's really been handy for me, and I think it's really important to be able to share some of those benefits and the importance of having what is mud maps and being a confident driver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some of the tools that we've got, in particular my TransDev app, and also the Transperth Journey Planner as well. Are you familiar with working on a computer and using mapping software?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, good. And I did take note, Mark, of your learner profile, that your understanding of mud maps is good. However, your understanding of the Transperth Journey Plan is fairly low. So this is going to be a really great benefit for you. So with that, I do have my tablet here, and I just want to walk through each of the motions. So with that, we've got mud maps that are on my TransDev app, and you can locate those if you go to what is the home screen, and I've already logged on to save you some time. And if you walk down the pages and go to what is the Fremantle page, because that's where we're currently located, that'll take us to all the different pages that are on my TransDev app, and you just look for, scroll down the bottom where you'll actually see, second from the bottom, Fremantle mud maps. And what you can do is you click on that. That's in fact a PDF. If you click onto that, PDF will appear. You can now utilise that. If you've got the software, you can convert that to a Word document, and if you don't have the software, you can actually do some stuff online as well, which is smallpdf.com, which is a free system you can use. So what we'll do is we've downloaded it. I've actually prepared what is already a Word document, which is the raw footage. Nothing to show that it's been personalised. And what I want to do is look at the Word document and also walk through the route, a particular route. In this particular case, we're going to choose what is the 115. And we're going to look at the 115 on the mud map, on the Word document, and then we're going to go to Transperth Journey Planner. So let's get on to the Transperth Journey Planner, just so you're aware, because this is something you're going to benefit from, and there's a whole lot of great tools that you can use here. And the one in particular I want to demonstrate is if you go to timetables, and then from there, timetables, this screen will appear where it shows you where you can get all the bus times, all the bus routes and so forth. You can look at the entire section of it, or you can just narrow it down and go, okay, I've got to hone into 115. So in that particular case, I'm going to, in this area here says bus number, I'm going to put the 115. We're going to go today, and we'll just look at find bus. Now if you look further down, it will then show you what is a 115, and I'm going to click onto that, and that will now show you what is the timetable. Now, utilising our shift sheet, which tells us the 115 is leaving what is Hamilton Hill Hall at 12:17, and that'll take us into Elizabeth Quay. That's what it currently says. In this particular case, I want to go from Elizabeth Quay to Hamilton Hall. So I'm going to reverse that, and you can use that simple function down there just by reversing the journey. Now we're leaving what is the town, the Perth City, Elizabeth Quay, and we're going to go to Hamilton Hall. Because what I want to do is I want to demonstrate this leg of the journey, the 115 from Perth to Hamilton Hill, and I want to see you demonstrate going from Hamilton Hill to Perth. And I'm only going to walk through what is a couple of turns, just so you're familiar with it. So just before we do get started, is there any questions at all? Is this something that you think you might be able to utilise as part of your work here at Transperth?
Sure.
Yep. All right. Well, let's have a look at that. So we're just going to zoom into the map. I'm going to go into view. This screen pops up. Now you've got two parts to it. You've got on the left a list of bus stops, and on the right the map, the online software that Transperth is using. I'm going to just remove what is the bus stops and expand the map. And with that, I'm going to look at the different functions. You've got normal view, satellite view, or hybrid view. I'm going to go hybrid view because hybrid view gives us what is our street names. Now what we'll do is we go to the start. We know that we're in town because we're going to look at our mud map. It says we're leaving Elizabeth Quay and we're heading by Booragoon en route to Hamilton Hill. So I'm going to zoom in, and I can just simply just use my fingers here, and you can see that the blue line, it shows that we start here at Elizabeth Quay and then we make our way what is onto the freeway. That is the start of the journey. This is what we see on Transperth, the online mapping software, and then you look at our mud map, it also tells us that as well. So the information what I want to share here is it tells us exit station via Kwinana Freeway South, bus lane. I think that's pretty straightforward. You can personalise that. Perhaps you want to call it something else. You may want to call it busway, for an example. If that works for you, because the whole idea is to build a mud map that you're comfortable with and you're driving with confidence, because this will be on your display with your steering wheel to the right and utilising the panel there in the bus. So is that something that you'd be comfortable with, using what is exit station via Kwinana Freeway South, bus lane? Perfect, seems fine. And it tells us here, stay in the right hand lane on the freeway and then exit freeway at Canning Highway bus ramp. So let's just have a look, and we're going to now marry that to the actual map itself, and we can see that in this particular case our next stop is in fact what is Canning Bridge. So we've now exited off the Canning busway, the Canning Bridge busway, and it says exit freeway at Canning Highway bus ramp. And it says enter Canning Bridge transfer station. And then from there it says our next navigational turn, we're on Canning Highway. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to just customise it a little bit. I want to know that I am actually on Canning Highway. So I'm going to go onto Canning Highway. So now that I've left the freeway, I've gone to the Canning Bridge transfer station, and I now need to make my way onto Canning Highway. From there, our navigational turn is then left at Risley Street. Let's just have a look and see if in fact this is Risley Street. So we're just going to look at a series of stops, and we're just looking at the blue line, and we're going to have a look, zoom right in, and our hybrid map shows us that we're making a left turn, can't quite see where, there it is, Risley Street. So how do I know as a driver that at this set of lights it says left at Risley Street, lights? There's many lights on Canning Highway. That could confuse me. So what I would do, that personalises it for me to make me comfortable, is I would look at my last bus stop, and then once I get to that last bus stop on Canning Highway, before I make that left turn onto Risley Street, I'm just going to start looking for it. So it says here, Canning Highway after Tain Street. So I'm going to use that information, and it says here, left at Risley Street, lights, and in brackets, I'm going to write A for after, Tain Street. Now that tells, Tain Street, stop. Now that tells me that once I've passed what is the Tain Street stop, at this particular point, the next set of traffic lights will be the lights I'm looking for, and that will most likely be my left turn onto Risley. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm comfortable with, and it could be something that you might want to use a different method. You may want to look at how many stops you need to pass before you make that left-hand turn, but just consider that it could be a little bit confusing trying to keep count, particularly when you've got so many other variables around. So now I'm just going to flick to the mud map, and it says our next navigational turn is right into Booragoon bus station. So let's just have a look just to confirm that that is the particular case. I'm going to just continue on, and here it shows us this blue line, and this is on the Transperth journey planner, that we're actually making a right into what is the Booragoon bus station. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now that tells me what I might do is I might just put in there, just so I don't overshoot that turn, I might just put in before Marmion Street, and I'm going to put that in brackets. This is again for me, just because I know Marmion Street, I want to make sure that I turn right before we reach Marmion. If I've gone past Marmion, I'll probably miss the turn. So I'm going to put here in brackets B for before Marmion, and I'm going to highlight that in bold as well, so it really stands out for me, because I've got it again on the panel as my mud map here. Then we're going into what is Booragoon bus station. The next instruction, what does it tell us? If you have a look at there, Mark, what do you see?
Left at Marmion.
Left at Marmion. So what have we actually done? We've gone from Riser Street into the station. Which station is it? Booragoon. And then once we exit the station, we go, it tells us left at Marmion Street. So I'm going to just write here, just so I know, exit station, because I want to make sure that I'm entering the station and now I'm exiting. Once I've exited, I'm going to go left at Marmion Street. And in this particular case, it looks like it's a T-junction, because you can only arrive at that section. There's a set of lights there, you can either go right or left. So in this particular case, we've got what is left at Marmion Street, lights T. So I'm going to just put this T first, because that's important for me, is I want to know that I've arrived at a T-junction, and then with that I am now at a set of lights, and I'm going to make that left-hand turn. Is that pretty straightforward? Now the next set of instructions, looking at that, what does the blue line tell us? What are we doing there?
We're going to be going right, turn to left.
And what street is that?
Risley.
On to Risley. So let's have a look. So we've got right at Risley. And what are your observations there? If I zoom in, what do you think is there? Do you think maybe does it look like a T-junction, a Y road, a crossroad? What do you think?
T-junction.
A T-junction.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's write T-junction. So we've got T-junction there, so I'm just going to put the T. And then with that, if you zoom on in, does it look like maybe there's a set of lights there? And I'm familiar with that intersection, so there is a set of lights. So again, we know that we're going to make a right onto Riser Street. It's a T-junction, and it's a set of lights. Now, all of a sudden, we've gone from the city, we've travelled along Kwinana Freeway, we've now exited, we've gone along Canning Highway, we've gone from Canning Highway, Riser Street into Booragoon, the station, and then from there, Marmion, and then Risley again. Now, how does that sound to you? Is that fairly self-explanatory?
Yep.
And what do you think would be the benefit of doing what we're doing by referencing what is the mud maps against the Transperth Journey Planner?
Good route learning.
Good route learning. But it's also because we can't use our phone while driving, we can't access this. So we need to actually create what is our own mud map, and that's just a directional route for the particular route that we're doing. And the benefit is there for us to then be driving with confidence and ensure that we don't take the wrong turn. So if I was to give you, let's say, a route, and have you sort of demonstrate some of the skills that I've just shared with you. Do you feel confident that you could do that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So what about if we choose a different route? Let's keep it as the 115, but let's just reverse it. Let's go from what is Hamilton Hill. I know we didn't get there, but let's just go maybe from Borogoon Station into the city of Elizabeth Quay. Okay? So we're going to go to the 115 T, which tells us T means that we're actually going to Perth. F means from Perth. So this is what we're going
always.
to.
Not always.
I'm just recording this, so if you don't mind, just
sorry,
stand by. Sorry, I
sorry.
appreciate your time. And to this bystander, it is correct, not always. So to his point, there could actually be a deviation as well. You could have like a TS, or you could have an FD, or anything like that. That tells us a deviation, but for the sake of today's exercise, I just want to keep it fairly simple with what is just a standard route. So I'm going to get you now to, I'm going to go to the home screen of Transperth, and I'm going to get you to punch in what is the 115, but we want to go to the city. So it's from Hamilton Hill to the city. So what would be the first step that you do here? We know that we're doing the 115.
Yeah. We go to bus number.
Yep.
So 115.
Perfect.
Find times. That should appear, which it does.
Yep. And there's the 115. Great.
Checking, so we don't want to leave Elizabeth Quay, so we'll need to reverse the journey.
Perfect. That's great. Good work. So now we're going to the city.
And it's already showing start to finish.
Oh, that's great. All right. And is that screen big enough for you with the map? Or
We'll
could...
expand the map
Okay, great.
and we'll change it to hybrid.
Hybrid, great. And why do we do hybrid?
That way you can see the imagery and the map of the route.
And the street
street
names as
names.
well. Yeah, that's really helpful, isn't it? All right, perfect. So let's go from Borogoon Station, because that's where we've just arrived at. So maybe let's take it from the time that we enter Borogoon Station, and then we'll start manipulating the mud map the way you would like to do it to take us into the city. So if we flip the screen, we know that this is now, we just got to find what is Borogoon Station.
So yeah.
Great. So let's go, how do we actually get into Borogoon Station? So we've come off Leach Highway.
I'm off Leach Highway, so we're going to left onto Risley Street.
Okay, let's have a look at that on the Transperth mapping. Okay, so there's, what's that one? Is that's Leach Highway? Yep.
Leach Highway, Risley.
Yes.
To the left hand turn at lights. Which you can zoom into. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Alright, so now let's have a look at arriving at Borogoon Station. What would be our mud map instructions? We're now in Risley, and the next step would be
The access road. Access road up to Margate Street.
perfect. Alright, let's have a look at the mud map. And what does that tell us?
Station entry.
Station entry, alright. So, and is that something you'd be comfortable with that type of terminology, or would you call it something else? You mentioned access before.
Yeah, access or station entries.
Okay.
Fine, yeah.
Okay, great. So now we're at Borogoon Station, and what do we do when we depart Borogoon Station?
Exit the station and be turning left at Marmion Street.
Okay, alright. And what does our mud map show us?
Shows us at the station and then turning left.
Let's have a look at the map and just sort of see what that looks like. If we're going left in the Marmion, what are our options there? Can we go straight ahead?
Yep, so
No.
is it left or right?
Left or right? So, and it looks like a T-junction, doesn't it?
Yep.
So you could put, if you wanted to, T-junction. And then from there, make the left-hand turn. So what I did earlier is, I know that when it's a T-junction, I've only got two options. And that sort of what reduces any kind of disruption or distractions on my end. Would you be comfortable putting a T-junction, or you're quite comfortable with not identifying what type of road?
I'd put a T-junction.
Okay, well let's do that. Let's write T-junction. And when I did it, I did in brackets T. If you feel more comfortable with T-junction, that's up to you. This is something that you're doing, personalising the way you feel most comfortable. Great. And some lights.
Yeah.
That's great. Alright, the next instruction then.
Stop at stand A1 on Marmion Street.
Okay. So we're still at Borogoon Station?
Outside, so
Okay.
that's fine.
And then the next?
Left at Risley Street, lights, and his T-junction.
Alright, let's have a look at the map just to make sure that's clear.
Yep.
Yep, perfect. And you're comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yep. And then let's follow the blue line. Where does it take us from there on Risley?
So a right-hand turn will be at Canning Highway.
Right, okay, perfect. Right, so that's what the Transperth journey plan tells us. What about our mud map? What does that say?
It's a right at Canning Highway traffic lights.
Perfect, great. And you're comfortable with that? Is there any type of other information you'd put there?
No, I think it was just the only set of lights.
Only set of lights,
So
great.
it's fine, yeah.
Yep, okay. And then let's have a look at the map again. And what's our next instruction?
So I was pulling to Canning Bridge transfer station.
And you can zoom out if you wanted to.
Okay,
Perfect.
Canning Bridge.
Canning Bridge. Right, and then what happens once we get on to Canning Bridge transfer station?
From there you'd be going onto the freeway.
Onto the freeway. That's what it shows us here on my map. And then what does our map say?